Check your calendars, it's officially March. That means every pass, every shot, every dribble, and especially every game matters. Syracuse men's hoops had 3 contests over the past week. How'd the Orange fare against the top teams in the ACC? You'll have to stick around to find out.
And Syracuse men's lacrosse is off to a rough start in the Gary Gate era, but that's bound to happen when you play number 1 and number 2 back-to-back weeks. Find out how SU fared against the defending champions.
And there's no rest for the wicked. Cuse women's Lax packed up and headed west to take on 2 ranked opponents. First, it was the Fighting Irish, then the Wildcats. Recaps, highlights, and much more. This is On the Bench, and it starts right now. Championships, overtime thrillers, top plays this week had it all. Welcome to the CitrusTV studio for On the Bench. He's Brad Klein, I am Jaron May, and we have quite a bit to go over because it is crossover season. Brad, before we get to all the craziness of this past week, let's get to your major headlines.
I have to say there's a lot to choose from here.
Now, we start on the court, or kind of off of it, after Syracuse men's basketball's blowout loss to Duke over the weekend. Jim Boeheim announced that both Boeheim's sons, Buddy and Jimmy, as well as Cole Swider, do not plan on returning next season. The trio ranked 1st, 2nd, and 3rd on the team in scoring and account for 60% of SU's points. That means Joe Girard and Jesse Edwards will be the only 2 starters that come back. Boeheim also announced his intention to stay on the sidelines again next year.
Syracuse's Jessica DiGirolamo on the ice already won Defenseman of the Year in the CHA. Now she's got another accolade to round out the mantle. DiGirolamo won CHA Defenseman of the Month for February. This is the 4th monthly award for DiGirolamo this season.
Syracuse women's ice hockey won the CHA regular season championship for the first time in the program's 14-year history. That gave the Orange the '1 seed in the conference tournament. SU matched up with 5th-seeded RIT on Friday in the semifinals. Syracuse beat RIT 4 times in the regular season, and how about that? Garrett Schrader, the starting quarterback for Syracuse football, supporting the women, and they award him 32 seconds in. Abby Malotny with the goal. It's 1-0 Syracuse. Then the Orange continued to pepper, but it continued to get shut down by Sarah Coe. She was a wall in net, and then on the offensive side in the second period, RIT gets on the board. We're tied up from Abby Davies. Then RIT again, another goal. This time it's Kayla Bear. 2-1 RIT. Syracuse, are they about to lose in the semis? How about no? Abby Malotny again, her 2nd goal of the game. A whole lot of defense to finish out the 3rd period. A lot of blocks combined, 36 if you tally all of them up. But someone has to break the stalemate. We go to overtime. Who's going to break it? Well, how about Abby Malotny? A hat trick and a winner. 3-2 your final. That sends Syracuse onto the CHA championship.
So Abby Malotny is the hero in the CHA semifinal. All right, so that win earns Syracuse the right to play for the CHA championship against Mercyhurst and the Lakers, a storied program. Find out how it went down. Again, Abby Malotny, definitely a name to look out for, but early on, it was Liliane Perreault really challenging the Syracuse Blue Liners. Have no fear, Ariel Desmet is here, CHA goalie of the season, and that's why. So she cheats up, saves a goal, still no score. We go late 1st period. There she is, Abby Malotny scores after the hat trick against RIT, so that's 4 straight goals for Malotny, and Syracuse leads 1-0. Go to the 2nd period now. Anna Lecision almost scored again, but it was turned away by Anna Nystrom. Still 1-0 until this. Tatum White finds a cutter. One-timer Marchand, all rookie selection in the CHA, and Sarah Marchand puts Syracuse in a really good spot, up 2-0 midway through the game. But how about this? Right here, Mercyhurst sticking around. Sarah Boucher, deke, and score 2-1 after the 2nd period. Mercyhurst not going anywhere, and that would even be compounded later on in the 3rd period. It was a breakaway. Alexa Vasco taking on a triple team. Top shelf where mama keeps the cookie jar. 2-2 through regulation. Hey, Syracuse had a last-ditch effort to score, but it's really hard to do that when Anna Nystrom is playing this well. And again, Jessica DiGirolamo is the best offensive defenseman in the nation and in program history. Even she couldn't stop Nystrom. So let's go to overtime. Hey, Syracuse just won 3-2 in the semifinals in overtime. Let's do it again, says Sarah Thompson. She's the hero. And Syracuse, for the second time in program history, CHA champions. They're going to the big dance like they did back in 2019. That's your final in overtime. And our very own Chillicothe Adele had plenty more.
In 2019, Syracuse Ice Hockey won its first ever CHA championship. On Saturday afternoon, the Orange did it again, beating number 3 seed Mercyhurst in overtime 3-2. Scoring the winning goal, sophomore Sarah Thompson.
I don't even know. I was standing in front of the net. I saw Digi at the top of the point, something we've worked on for a long time. So she just ripped the puck. The puck was there. I hit it, and I don't remember a single thing after that, except for being at the bottom of the dog pile and not being able to breathe. So, but I mean, in the best way possible.
We definitely just tried to stay as calm as possible, even when things were kind of getting a bit hectic out there yesterday and today. It's really important to keep your composure, and that's what I did, and that's what the team did, and I think that overall was probably the reason why we won both games.
I don't know, I hugged Brendan. I don't think I've ever hugged Brendan. Maybe 3 years ago I did, I don't know.
That wraps up an excellent weekend here at Kennedy Ice Pavilion, and with Saturday's win, the Orange now receive an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. Reporting from Kennedy Ice Pavilion, Chillicothe Adele, Citrus TV.
All right, transitioning to the court now. Syracuse men's basketball was on an absolute heater 2 weeks ago. The Orange had won 6 of their last 7, but ran into a buzzsaw with the top 3 teams in the ACC all on the schedule. The first challenge, Notre Dame. Let's roll that tape to find out. Syracuse hasn't lost to Notre Dame since way back in 2018. And watch this one. Buddy Boeheim starts off the scoring. He had 20 points. That's his 9th consecutive double-digit scoring game. But then the freshman phenom, Blake Wesley, answers right back. Back and forth we go. A whole lot of threes, a whole lot of jumpers. That's the only field goal, however, JG3 made that entire game. He finished with just 2, a question mark all day long. But a question mark that was answered, Nate Lashevsky. He was absolutely ridiculous from the outside. He hit 5 of 10 threes in this game. Jimmy Boeheim also had a career-high 27, but look at that. The threes just continue to rain down. 5 of 10 from beyond the arc for Lashevsky, and that was just about it. Syracuse had a couple points towards the end. Barama Sidibe coming back from injury, but it does not matter. Syracuse falls by 10 to Notre Dame.
So after a disappointing loss to Notre Dame, tough road loss for the Orange, about 32,000 packed the Dome over the weekend to greet them. It was the largest college basketball attendance of the year. Everyone coming to see number 7 Duke. And when I say everyone, I really mean everyone. Again, you want proof? There it is. Otto's Army and all, led by Jonathan Danilich. And hey, maybe the best student section in the nation, only time will tell, but Duke was unfettered. Mark Williams and company, 14-0 run out of the gate, and it's really easy when you leave 7'1", 242 wide open on the baseline. Williams had a career-high 28 points. Duke was dominating inside and out. Jeremy Roach hits the 3, and then A.J. Griffin, younger brother of SU forward Alan Griffin from last year. Big-time deficit for Syracuse at the break because Duke hit 10 threes in the first half. But Benny Williams was the lone bright spot, 14 points, 6 rebounds, and a career high in minutes. He was good, but overall, there's a basket by Theo John. Duke was too good. 97-72. Krzyzewski in his Dome finale all over Boeheim.
Whew. So back-to-back losses for Syracuse wiped away pretty much all tournament hopes. The final chance at a Quad 1 win came this Monday down in Chapel Hill. The Orange had a date with the Tar Heels of North Carolina. If you like history, then don't look at the stats because SU has never beaten UNC in the Dean Dome. Syracuse hasn't won a final road regular season game since way back in 2014, but the Orange were trying to reverse that, and it started off strong. A 9-0 start for SU. The Orange hit their first 6 field goals thanks to Cole Swider, thanks to Jimmy Boeheim, but then UNC started to crawl back into it, and they relied on the 3-ball. Caleb Love with that last one. Cole Swider knocks down another one. He had 7 long balls and a career-high 36 points, but those pesky Tar Heels would continue to rain from the outside. 13 combined threes in the first half for these two teams, and UNC would take a 5-point lead into the halftime break. Coming out of that break, it was more of the same. Jimmy Boeheim, or JG3 rather, with one, and then on the other end, RJ Davis, he had a season-high 5 made three-pointers. Also, Armando Bacot, too strong on the inside, 17 points, 18 rebounds for the ACC Player of the Year candidate. Then, 7 seconds to go, Caleb Love puts his team up by 2. What will Syracuse do to respond? JG3 coast to coast, off balance. Yes! Let's go to overtime. Tied up, 73-73. And then there it is. UNC pours it on in the OT period. 15-6 in OT in favor of the Tar Heels. And that is an 88-79 victory for UNC. Syracuse goes winless in Quad 1. All right, coming up next, SU Women's Hoops is in its final stretch while Cuse Lacrosse is just getting going. And so are we. OTB will BRB.
Some kids never smile. They're embarrassed by their crooked teeth. They want braces like the other kids, but their families can't afford them. Some may even try to straighten their teeth themselves. That can make everything worse. Luckily, there's Donated Orthodontic Services, a program from the American Association of Orthodontists. It helps provide orthodontic treatment to kids and teens whose families can't afford it. For kids who apply, are approved, and are matched with a volunteer orthodontist, it can be life-changing. Their treatment is in the hands of an expert, a licensed local orthodontic specialist who improves their smiles by correctly aligning teeth and jaws. Some kids think they'll never smile again, but Donated Orthodontic Services may help them smile with confidence. To link to the application and eligibility requirements, visit AAOinfo.
After an up-and-down season, Syracuse women's basketball is in the home stretch. Welcome back to On the Bench in the CitrusTV studio. I'm Jaron May alongside Brad Klein. And Brad, this roller coaster of a season, it's the best way to describe Von Reed's year. Cuse women's hoops rode another losing streak into a matchup with Wake Forest last Thursday, and this one didn't go too well. Tisha Hyman, she had her 16th straight double-digit performance with 26 points, but Wake Forest grabs a 76-60 victory. Christina Mora led the Wake Forest Demon Deacons with 21, 10 for 15 with the field goals. Jules Spear also with 19. There were 4 Wake Forest players in double figures.
Yeah, so it didn't get much better for Syracuse. That made it 4 straight losses for the Orange, but there was still something to smile about on Sunday. That was against Boston College. It was senior day in the Dome, and the pregame festivities were great. The in-game festivities, well, maybe festivities not a great way to describe it. Hey, 75, that's the motif on Syracuse's side, but you get 91 allowed. Boston College just swarmed Syracuse's defense. Nothing doing for the Orange, and that home finale loss came quickly with the Eagles scoring 11 of their first 13 points from three-point range. It only got worse for the Orange. In fact, Syracuse never trailed by fewer than 11 points from the 5-minute mark of the first quarter. Next up, a date with Clemson in the first round of the ACC tournament down in Greensboro.
Okay, so there you go. That is your women's basketball side of things. Now we got to go to women's lacrosse because Kayla Trainer's squad is starting off hot. They went out to South Bend a couple days ago to take on the visiting, well, rather they were the visiting, to take on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Let's roll the tape to figure out how this one ended. Syracuse hasn't lost to Notre Dame since way back in 2018. They're trying to keep that streak alive, and the Orange started with the ball movement quickly. Megan Tyrell finds a cutting Jenny Markey for the upper left 90. Absolute heater on that one. The sophomore put a little extra strength. Then Emma Tyrell had a career day, ties her career high with 7 points, 4 goals, and 3 assists for the younger Tyrell sister. Then Notre Dame was that pesky fly in your ear. First it's Madison Ahern, then it's Casey Choma, 2 of the best players in the entire league. We have a 1-goal game. Now we have a 2-goal game because Emily Harris-Chuck, one of the best players in the entire country, gives Syracuse a 10-8 lead at halftime. After the break, it was more of Emma Tyrell. She turns on the burners and gets right past her defender. Megan Carney also getting in on it right from the doorstep. A little quick stick action right there. Then Notre Dame quickly gets right back into it, down by 3. They want to make this a game. Madison Ahern scores 1 of her 6 goals. That's the second time she's done that this year. Then Casey Choma with 5 goals as well. So you got 20 seconds to go. Mary Kelly Doherty at the line. She finishes. We are going to overtime. That is the name of the game with this show. A whole lot of OTs. Who's going to play the hero? It's Megan Tyrell. Stop, roll dodge. Syracuse 17, Notre Dame 16. The Orange still undefeated.
Hey, they were undefeated at that point, but they still had to get through Northwestern on that road trip, right? And things are not very easy when you have to play Notre Dame and then Northwestern. Highlights right here on the horizon, and it's a rematch of the Final Four from last season. So maybe some bad blood, but Izzy Skane unavailable for this one for Northwestern. So we go right to the second quarter. 4-4 tie. Jill Girardi falling down. And then later in the second quarter, it was Emily Harris-Chuck. So she had a great day, 9 points. Syracuse now tied again until that scoop shot score by Lauren Gilbert, a woman up. And hey, Northwestern led 8-5 at the break. Syracuse would whittle into that deficit though. Sam Swart on the assist by Jenny Markey, and then Emily Harris-Chuck. Megan Tyrell now, woman up, score, and Syracuse led by 2 at that point. Now they're up by 3, and Northwestern would come back slowly but surely. 3 unanswered goals. Girardi, then Gilbert, and then Gilbert again. Now we go to overtime, and this one, well, that's the winner. It was Lauren Gilbert, 16-15. Northwestern steals one from Syracuse, and at the end,
Whole lot of overtime, some heartbreak, some exciting ones, but after the break, softball aficionado Anthony Vasquez joins the show. Plus, it's the fastest 2 minutes in television. Don't go anywhere.
Fancy pants peanut butter? A big screen television? You haven't even bought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl.
Back in the CitrusTV studios for On the Bench, I'm Jaron May, he's Brad Klein. Brad, if you were to run a 40, how quick?
all right, well, you saw me run the 40 a little while ago, and I'm impressed that I even finished it. I thought I'd still be running it. I'd say, life depending on it, I'm getting it done in 6 something.
Okay. How about, a 2-minute drill? How long would that take you?
2 minutes.
There you go. Let's do it. 2-minute drill. OTB. Let's go. Men's Lacrosse Blacks went down to Charlottesville to take on the two-time defending champs UVA over the weekend. Let's roll the tape. Syracuse beat Virginia both times they matched up with the Cavaliers last season, but UVA still won the national championship. They reloaded, restocked, and they still have Peyton Cormier. He puts up the Hoos 2-0. They won the first quarter 8-1. Syracuse trying to put a Band-Aid on a bleeding wound. First it's Mikey Berkman, then a quick stick on the inside, Lucas Quinn, and the Orange go down by 6 heading into halftime. And coming out of the second half, it was all Virginia. A 7-0 run for the Cavaliers. They could not miss the back of the net. Syracuse couldn't stop, and Griffin Cook tried to help out a hat trick, just his first since his sophomore year, but it does not matter. Virginia 20-11. SU now has a quick turnaround with Army in the Dome on Wednesday. Check out an exclusive interview with CitrusTV's Nick Luttrell and the Black Knights head coach on our social media. Brad, tennis, go.
Syracuse tennis suffered its first real setback over the weekend. 2 losses, one to Virginia and the other to Virginia Tech. Now, this was the first weekend road trip for the Orange. It's the first time they lost both duels in their opening trip since 2013. Victoria Kanapetskaya won her 5th singles match in a row, and that was a big one for her against Virginia Tech. She was demoted a couple matches ago, rather duels ago, to number 2 singles. That streak came to an end against Virginia in the back half of the trip. Kanapetskaya and the Orange are now winless in ACC play. It's a home set this weekend, though. That's all for tennis. Let's pick up the pace with track. Jaron, go.
It's not the fastest 2 minutes on television without the fastest players on campus. Yeah, that's right. It's time to head to the track. Both the men's and women's teams went to the ACC Indoor Championships last week, and let's just hope losing makes you stronger, because both squads finished second to last. Some individuals shined, however, like JP Trojan taking 4th and Amanda Vestry living like Ricky Bobby and finishing 1st. Now that is how you run the 2-minute drill. Catch your breath. Let's toss it over to Brad, who is a very special guest.
Thanks, Jaron. Now it's time to slow things down, and to do that, we bring in our very own CitrusTV softball beat reporter, Anthony Vasquez. Anthony, thanks for taking the time.
Hey, great to be here, Brad.
All right, so we're breaking down the softball team, and right now, it's a crucial time for that squad because they're entering the toughest part of their schedule, ACC play. Who's got to step up?
Well, I'm going to start with the top of the lineup. I'm going to give you 3 key freshmen here. Tessa Gallipo, she definitely has to step up. She's hitting .424 in the season with 3 homers and 16 RBIs. Syracuse is going to need a lot more. Looking down to the rest of the order, Kelly Breen, boy, she made a big surprise. Her meteoric rise as a freshman starting at second base. She'll have to step up as well. She's hitting just .318. That's a little bit low for a 3-hitter. And on the mound, inside the pitcher's circle, it's going to have to be Summer Clark. She had a 0.79 ERA coming into the Auburn game. She'll definitely have to step up as ACC play starts.
All right, so a lot of names, a lot of numbers, a lot of star power for Syracuse, but there are some things that they need to work on with that teeth of the schedule coming up. So what are they? What is really the focus going into ACC play?
Well, Brad, I'm going to put it simply, everything. There's a lot of questions for SU softball right now, and it starts with the hitting. They were absolutely shellacked by Auburn, shut out in just 5 innings of play. That is something you don't want to see. And if you look at against mid-major opponents, Texas A&M Corpus Christi only scored 5 runs in a couple games, and Tarleton State only 1, losing on a walk-off. That definitely will not play as ACC play starts off. It won't play against Florida State. It won't play against Duke, and basically the rest of the ACC.
That's Anthony Vasquez. You can follow his coverage all season long on CitrusTV.com, and also give him a follow on Twitter. Anthony, thanks again for taking the time.
Thanks, Brad.
Hey, we have a lot more to get to here on the bench. Performers of the week on the horizon. Jaron and I, we're going to highlight a couple of key names come a few minutes from now. Don't go anywhere.
The alarm bell go off in school. I think it's an air raid.
A lot of houses in our neighborhood have been destroyed. I like to close my ears and sing songs whenever the bombs come close.
I'm worried our new neighbors won't like us.
But I know it's all gonna be worth it. I just want my family to be safe. But these are not my words.
These are not my words.
These are not my words.
Here's your check. Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay.
God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early. You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
What are you, superheroes?
Just four brothers who hate bullies and love this city. Gear up, guys.
Wrapping things up in the CitrusTV studio, I am Jaron May, he is Brad Klein, and this is On the Bench. Brad, before we sign off, you know what time it is. It's Performers of the Week time. This season wrapping up, other seasons starting off. There are plenty of candidates, but only 3 can earn a spot in 1, 2, 3. This wall right here. Let's begin with Abby Malotny of the ice hockey team. The senior forward netted her first career hat trick in the CHA semifinals to propel her team past RIT. Then in the championship, which we already talked about, the team winning, Malotny opened the scoring, so she had 4 goals in 2 games. Doesn't get much better than that. Plus, she got to hoist up that trophy at the end of it all. So Malotny, first Performer of the Week, I think very well due.
And this team doesn't win the CHA tournament without her. I mean, think about RIT was such a bailout, and no one had anything going. Jessica DiGirolamo was a 0, and anytime you can win with Jessica DiGirolamo taken out, it's a good day. Performer of the Week number 2, well, that's Emma Tyrell.
Bang.
The junior tied her career high with 7 points against Notre Dame over the weekend. Not to mention Tyrell collected a career best 9 draw controls. Her sister Megan, yeah, she might have had the overtime winner, but there wouldn't have been an overtime without Emma.
Emma Tyrell, ACC Offensive Player of the Week. I think if I was Emma, I would be more proud to be on this wall as the OTB Performer of the Week than ACC Offensive Player of the Week, right?
It's a take, I guess.
Come on.
But, I mean,
there's only 3 of these. They give out those weekly awards every single week. All right, our final we also do that, I guess, because this is Performer of the Week. Our final Performer of the Week is Cole Swider of Cuse Men's Hoops. The Villanova transfer registered a career high in 3 categories: points with 36, field goals with 14, and threes with 7 in just the North Carolina game. He was a man amongst men and almost willed his team to their first Quad 1 win of the season. However, he fouled out in overtime, couldn't put the cherry on top. But final Performer of the Week goes to Mr. Cole Swider. How about that?
Yeah, the impressive thing about Swider was it was a wire-to-wire performance. It's not like he just had a hot second half or what have you. He started strong, he ended strong, and for a team like Syracuse, consistency, well, that's been hard to come by. In fact, after the game, he said that he took exception with Ryan McAdoo guarding him off the jump. And McAdoo, it's his first career start, senior day, that's why he was in the lineup. And Swider had that chip on his shoulder the entire game.
Yeah, so Cole Swider, Syracuse is going to need that going forward. ACC tournament coming up next week. They have one final game this Saturday, so Cole Swider needed in these final games. That's going to do it. That's all the time that we have for On the Bench. For Brad Klein, I'm Jaron May. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy your Images of the Week.